Sure, right?
Yeah. All right, let's go live. Here we go.
All right, man.
Ben, please stop looking at election polls for just 1 second. We got a show to do.
All right, hold on, polls. Put the polls aside.
My God, you're such a pollster.
By the way, in Nevada, the all-important Nevada vote, Biden up 3. But meanwhile, over in Utah, looking bad for Sergio. Sorry, I just made that up.
How's it going, everybody?
Sergio predicted Utah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, how's Alabama looking? I remember Monroe's prediction, right?
Monroe, you might want to reconsider Alabama, right?
All right, happy Election Day, everybody. We are live. Let's get it on and popping. Your Ben Joravsky show for Tuesday, November 3rd, Election Day. It's just moments away. But before we do this, let's thank the following unions for sponsoring this podcast. Actually, before we do that, Ben, I want to talk to everybody right now, live streamers and downloaders. Tonight, if you got nothing going on, if you're watching the election, obviously, but hey, put the election on mute and listen to the Ben Joravsky Show, first Tuesday election special. That's right. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to be going live, and we are going to be talking to you as the election goes along. Yeah, will the brown line be there? Oh, you betcha. Oh, you betcha. So make sure to tune into that. Join us, and like I said, just put whatever you're watching, whatever election results you're watching, put it on mute. You can see they show the polls and all that, and listen to the Ben Joravsky Show first Tuesday election special. Maya Dugmasova will be joining us, as well as tons of guests, Ben Joravsky Show guests, friends of Maya, so many. So go check that out. It's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight. But first, let's do this Ben Joravsky Show for today. All right, it's brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 9, the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 150 are sponsors, as well as our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. For those wondering, wow, will they do a song of the day on Election Day? Yeah, we do it every day. And your song of the day comes from Frank, Ben, and it's Everybody Loves a Clown by Gary Lewis and the Playboys.
Yeah, this is one of your favorite songs from the 60s. Everybody loves a clown, so why don't you? Clown has feelings too. That's Hal Blaine on drums.
How does it go again? How's the chorus go?
Everybody loves a clown, so why don't you? Just the drum comes in at that point. Everybody laughs at the things that I say and do. And then I forget what the next line is.
Your election
but
day.
You don't laugh when you see me running. You just smile and keep on something. Sorry, B.
Your Election Day Ben Joravsky Show starts now. It is Tuesday, November 3rd, Election Day, and live from my apartment in his attic, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, our Chicago Reader colleague, Maya Dugmasova. And now your host, Chicago Reader columnist Ben Joravsky.
Hello, everybody. Ben Joravsky here. We're calling this Election Day Tuesday, and here's why. Because it's Election Day. Duh. Finally got here. But before we get to that, great weekend. You have a good weekend, D?
Yeah. 2 days ago. It was great.
You know, there's some traditions that have to be upheld, even on Election Day. It's a Tuesday. I'm going to talk about my weekend. That's how we always do it, okay?
The only podcast that talks about the weekend on Tuesdays.
Tuesday, I know. If we did the show on Wednesday, it'd be like, great weekend. You have a good weekend. I bet it's Wednesday, okay? Let me tell you what I did this weekend, D. I spent a lot of the weekend watching The Queen's Gambit. Love that show on Netflix. Want to give a special shout out to Joan, a faithful listener of this podcast. What up, Joan?
Joan, hey! Oh.
Her son produced the show, one of the producers of the show. So, Joan, I want to say this. Give that kid a raise and take it out of petty cash. That's a great show. I watched all 7 episodes, D. I watched like 2 one day, 2 the next day. You know how that goes. And all right, if you don't know about this show, it's about the super smart orphan girl who's a wizard at chess and she beats everybody. She is to chess what I am to Chicago aldermen. Like, for instance, the 49th Ward. Who's the alderman? Maria Haddon. Before that, Joe Moore. Before that, David Orr. Before that, Paul Wagoda. Before that, all right, already. You get the point. She knows chess like I know aldermen. She beats all the great Russian players until she faces the mighty Borgov. He's like the greatest Russian player of all in this show, D. So I'm not going to give anything away. Okay? Not going to give anything away about what happens because it's very suspenseful. Here's a sample line. I will now do a sample line from the show, D, in my Russian accent.
Oh.
So the orphan genius girl is named Beth. And she says, she's playing this other Russian, okay? And she says to him, "You're the best I've ever played." That's my imitation.
Sounds like Phyllis.
Oh, Philly.
Springfield politicians. They promise they won't tax retirement income if their constitutional amendment passes.
Philly and I were hanging out this weekend, D. We're listening to Ice Cube and Lil Wayne. Philly loves Lil Wayne. Man, I really like that one song. Anyway, so that's Beth. Back to Beth, the chess genius. She says, "You're the best I've ever played." And then the Russian player says, "Until you played Borgov." And I was saying that all weekend, D. Until you play Borgov. Anyway, watch it, folks. 2 thumbs way up. It'll take your mind off the madness. Now, let's get down to the madness. I voted today. So did Dr. D. The 2 of us are generally day of vote voters, if you follow what I'm saying. It's so much easier. There's no line. It was just the way it is at the old bar where I've been voting since the 1980s. Just zipped in and zipped right out. Made a joke or two to the election judges, had them rolling. Oh, God, this guy's hilarious. I was like the entertainment, D. There was nobody else in there except for me and the election judges at about 11 o'clock or whatever to go, "Hey, you got any more jokes to entertain us?" I voted, as you all know, for Joey B. and Kamala. I even took a picture of it just to make sure. I took a picture of my ballot. Yeah. The lamest, nerdiest thing I've ever done, D. You know, it's like, I'm going to take a picture of this just to show everybody who I voted for. Then I got paranoid because it's like we have to circle the dots. It brought back horror stories, memories, D, of taking the SAT.
Yeah, I was getting that too this morning. I'm like, oh my God, will this end?
I'm just so bad at, like, you know, does it have to be like a perfect fill in? You know what I mean? If I go over the line a little bit, does that like screw it up or not? I say, whatever. I did the best I could.
Well, shout out to Ken Davis. I saw his post on Facebook today. He took a picture of his ballot and posted it. Showed everybody.
You know, see, Kenny is one step ahead of me. Then Facebook. Anyway, I haven't been this excited about voting in an election since the last time I voted in an election, ladies and gentlemen, because let's face it, I'm excited every election day. I'm just what you call election day geek. What can I tell you? There was a nice young woman outside the polling place. She was passing out palm cards from the 47th Ward Democratic Organization. And at the top of the palm card, it said, "For President, Joe Biden." Okay. When I left the polling place, I passed this very nice young woman who was passing out the palm cards. I said to her, "Good thing you gave me that palm card because I was going to vote for Trump. And then I saw your palm card." And she was like, she said, and inside she's thinking, "Oh my God, he's so lame."
Yeah, like, okay, yeah. Okay, thanks for insulting why I'm here. Appreciate it.
But she did tell me that, D, that she said that there was some guy that drove past, I'm sorry, it's just in a MAGA hat, and he yelled out the window, "Trump!" He's like so happy, you know, he had his MAGA hat on. He's like a little puppy bounding across an open field on the first day of snow. Bound, bound, bound. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. What am I going to do without you guys? MAGA is so desperately trying to steal this election. I almost got to give him credit. It reminds me of the Democratic machine back in the day. And when I first got to Chicago and I moved to the 47th Ward, there were these big, beefy dudes. It looks like they eat a lot of raw hamburger. Streets and sanitation, or water department, or park district guys. And they would be standing outside the polling place to, hey, vote Democrat. They'd be passing me palm cards. They were like locusts in 2002 for Rahm. That's when Rahm Emanuel ran for Congress. He cut a deal with Daley. Daley supported him, so Daley had all the big beefy guys from the water department, the sewer department, streets and sanitation show up at the 5th Congressional District on the north side. Vote for Rahm. I bet those beefy guys who work for the city regretted that after Rahm stabbed him in the back once he gave mayor, trying to back out on pensions. Heck of a voting advice, Democratic beefy guys. Anyway, MAGA's got guys like that stationed outside of polling places all over the country. Only in this case, they're armed with machine guns. Say what you will about Rahm and Daley's goons. At least they weren't packing heat. What else? I got this message from Rose Calaccio. She'll be coming on tonight, D. Rose is our election expert. She's like read every single book. When the votes come in, which states tabulate and when, how like Texas tabulates write-in votes as opposed to day of election votes, that kind of thing. And she was saying there's reports coming out of Michigan that the MAGA people are telling folks who show up to vote that the election has been postponed. Come back tomorrow. That's a really neat trick. I always make that joke, about how voting is important. Everybody always says, like, vote, don't forget to vote. But you could tell, D, but like whoever's saying it, you kind of like get a sense that they don't really mean it if you're going to vote for the person they're not supporting. You know what I'm saying? Like all those messages that the NBA players made during the playoffs, Chris Paul, LeBron James, very important that you vote. I'm like, what if I intend to vote for Donald Trump? Well, that's so important. Don't vote. But they they can't say don't vote for Trump. They just got to go, it's really important that you vote. So yeah, voting is really important. But I used to always make that joke. Yeah, it's really important to vote. But if you're voting for Trump, the election is Wednesday. I know it's not funny, but I used to make that joke.
That's the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, but they're actually trying that in Michigan. It's like there's like MAGA people telling voters, and like they have their suspicions. Like they look at a voter and they decide, this guy's for Biden. The election's been postponed till Wednesday. So these voters are calling a hotline. Is that true? It's like when Trump said, take bleach for COVID. Remember that? People are calling like hotlines, medical hotlines. Is that true? You can take bleach? Anyway, my beloved Democrats are freaking out. They think that Trump is going to declare victory early and then urge his MAGA supporters in Michigan and Pennsylvania to stop counting the votes. It's just like declare victory at some random time, 10 o'clock. Boom, that's it. Stop counting the votes. And, all my Democratic friends freaking out. They're saying, he's going to do that, Ben. He's going to do that. You watch. He's going to do I understand. He's been signaling this maneuver for months. With all this talk about voting by mail, it's fraudulent. You can't depend on it. It's going to be cheating. And Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's handpicked Supreme Court nominee on the bench now, signaled that this was the strategy in a decision he wrote last week about voting rights. He said something along the lines of, we have to set standards so that elections, the results aren't flipped. After the polls have closed and after the day of voting votes have been counted, I'm like, everybody's pointing out, you can't flip a result of an election unless all the votes have been counted. So you're kind of like getting it all mixed up, signaling where you're going with this, Brett Kavanaugh? But here's the thing. This strategy that Donald Trump has employed is contingent on him being ahead in the early count. What if the early count shows him behind? What if the early count we're at 9 o'clock tonight and it's like, oh, the polls have closed in Pennsylvania and Maine and New York and North Carolina. Guess what? Joe Biden is ahead and he's ahead in Florida. What if the early count shows that Biden's actually ahead? Then you watch, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump's rhetoric will change on a dime. Suddenly, you'll see him declaring, "I'm not quitting until every vote is counted. If it takes a month to count all the votes, that's how long I'll wait." And Brett Kavanaugh will be like hurrying up to amend his decision. Yeah, what I meant to say is that it's really important from a constitutional standpoint to count every vote, like our founding fathers wanted. Republicans are so transparent. Whatever you have to say, you will say, even if it contradicts what you said yesterday. Dems, one more time, learn this lesson. You're in a battle with Republicans who don't play, and they have no fixed principles. It's all tactics. The sooner you learn that, the better you will be. We got a great show today, everybody. Hold on, I got a text. Let's see. Just got a text from Maya. Yes.
All right.
She will be our 2 o'clock guest, and she tells me she's already drinking. It's always good, to know that your 2 o'clock guest and your co-partner in crime for the 8 o'clock show has started drinking at noon, D. I'm sure she's just joking. Anyway, Maya will be here at 2 o'clock. A lot of political talk ahead of us, but before we do that, the young man from Alton, the man that everybody, whether they wear the MAGA hat or the Joey B. Blue, calls Dr. Doobie with the news.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Dennis. The magic number is 0. Yeah, it's election day. Let's see how everything has gone so far here in Chicago. Polls opened at 6 a.m., and some of them have been packed. You said it was empty where you were at, right, Ben?
There were 2 people in that, 2 voters, I should say, in that polling place, myself and my wife. My wife finished before I did, and soon it was just me. So, yes.
And what time was that?
Good question. It was approximately 11:30, I would say. You know me, I get up at the crack of 10, up and at 'em early.
Yeah, I was wondering if you would wake up earlier to go vote, but I guess not.
I was up really late watching episodes 6 and 7 of the Queen's Gambit, great movie, as I said, on Netflix. Everybody check it out. And so I woke up today, D, at some ungodly hour, like 9:15, not a lot of sleep. And then I started calling people about the show. You've been very proud of me. I was on the phone calling people. So anyway, I didn't get over there about 11:15, something like that.
All right. Well, Chicago's Board of Elections is doing what it can to try to keep people safe while they vote. Each precinct received a box of personal protective equipment that included disposable gloves, K95 masks, and face shields. They also were provided ample supplies of disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer. Did you see any of that there at the booth?
Yes.
Did you take some? And clean?
I did. I had my mask on. All right. I put the little hand sanitizer on. I've since come home and washed, showered, shaved.
All right.
Well,
you should have got some wipes and cleaned that studio up like you were talking about. You know what I mean?
Bad news in that front, D. Still a little sloppy here. I'm working on that, okay? Since you left, man, this place is just falling apart.
Also in the booths, there are stickers encouraging people to social distance leading up to the polling place. And the voting stations in most, but not some, are more spread out than past years. We have quotes from voters on how their experience went in the booth today. Yes, voter quotes. Shout out to the Chicago Sun-Times for their hard work, because Lord knows I didn't go talk to these people. First up, it's Jason. Jason was prepared for long lines of people waiting to vote at Kilmer Elementary School in Rogers Park. Instead, for Jason, voting was a breeze, and he was in and out in less than 20 minutes. Jason said, quote, "It turned out well." Very nice, Jason. Here's another voter quote. More voter quotes. This is a voter quote from Toby. Toby also was pleased with the ease of the voting process. Toby said, quote, "It was fantastic. I was third in line." Okay, well, no one likes a braggart, Toby.
Toby, he's I got up real early, unlike Ben. Oh, that's good. Good for you, Toby.
4 precincts in the 50th Ward, numbers 13, 28, 31, and 32, were packed into Stone Scholastic Academy's gym, making it nearly impossible not to brush shoulders with a stranger. We got Muhammad, age 41. He voted inside that gym today. Yes, more voter quotes. Here we go. Muhammad noted how close everyone was to each other, and Muhammad said, quote, "It's okay, but the precautions could be much better, like wider spacing." What do you think about
Everyone's a critic. All of a sudden, like, Muhammad's weighing in. Hey, Muhammad, where were you when they designed it? But just, someone's a critic. Muhammad is suddenly a interior designer. I think you should move the booth over here. Second thought, take it out. Everyone's. By the way, have you ever had to do that, D, in your whole life? Like man on the street. I love these man on the street quotes. Have you ever, or woman on the street quotes? Have you ever had to do that?
Oh, yeah. I've had to do it before, just in like radio, just doing like live broadcasts somewhere, going around talking to strangers.
Yeah, I know. It's really kind of. Could you please say something that I could use? Sometimes, like, I would get so desperate. Look, can we work on your quote a little bit? Because that quote really sucked that you said. Can we like embroider it a little bit? I'm sorry. It's supposed to be just from my heart. No one ever said that. They go, whatever you want to say, man. Just spell the name right, or don't call me at all. Don't mention me by name.
Yeah.
No, I hated doing that on the street. Ugh.
Election day is always weird because it's one of those days where news is happening. It's just, all, I don't know, it's just hard to get breaking news here. So voter quotes, that's what we're doing today. We got more stuff to talk about as well. We're going to put the voter quotes aside for a minute.
I like the voter quotes.
Hey, I got more, including a couple. One that votes Republican, the other votes Democrat. Oh, the left.
What is Billy Bob from the 33rd Ward? Billy Bob from the 33rd Ward said it was just really easy peasy. I just walked in and walked out. Well, thanks, Billy Bob.
But right now, we're going to give a round of applause, and let's hear it for early voting. All right, he's clapping. There we go. More than 3.6 million Illinoisans have already cast their ballots for Tuesday's election. According to the Illinois Board of Elections, as of Monday, more than 1.83 million people voted early in person, and another 1.76 million had already returned their ballots by mail. Board of Election officials are cautioning that some races, including the fate of the proposed graduated income tax amendment, quote, may not be known for up to 2 weeks. With more than 8.3 million voters registered for the 2020 general election, which is in itself a record, state election officials estimated that 43% of registered voters already voted.
Yeah. They got to figure out the mathematics in that thing. Like, it's got to be 60% of the people who actually vote in the election, or 50% of the people voted in the election overall. I remember Eric Zorn dedicated a whole column to it. And it was one of those columns where I went into it like, oh, wow, he's going to explain it. And when I left it, D, I was more confused than I was when I went into it. Because it's really hard. You need Dan Biss to figure these math stuff out. Then somebody corrected me. Like I mentioned it's 60%, and they go, well, it's also 50%. Why do you even need that? You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody, Ben, you should have mentioned the 50% of the total. Everybody's a critic. 1.83 million voted early, did you say, and 1.6 million by mail?
Yeah. I
was talking to Lenny, our good friend from their Indivisible Chicago and from the Chicago Reader. And she was one of the people I called this morning, D, while I was resting in bed, just waking up and preparing for the day at that god-awful early hour of 9:15. And she was shocked I hadn't voted already. She was like, Ben, hurry up, get over there now. People are so used to, you got to vote early. This is like this mindset that's taken over. And I was part of it too. I remember 2008. I was so happy. Got out early. See, that's why everybody's telling me this is the most important election we've ever had. This is the most excitement they've ever had, the most anxiety they've ever had. And there is a lot of excitement and anxiety, and I'm trying not to lose my mind. But I don't want to completely rewrite history. 2008 was a pretty big deal too. There was a gentleman on the ballot named Barack Obama. Ever heard of him? I was really excited to vote for him, and so are you, ladies and gentlemen. You guys just have a tendency to get in that moment, and this is most important because this is where we're at now, and we're all freaking out. But you're freaking out in 2008. I mean, the polls had Obama comfortably ahead, but most Democrats I know were very nervous. I'm nervous. I voted in that election really early. I was so happy, D. And then every subsequent election got harder. The line got longer. I'm like, why am I doing this? I went back to day of, and it's, whoa. It's just me and my wife in the polling place, making jokes with the election judges.
All right, moving on here. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Face coverings.
Yes.
Very important. Face coverings. Thank you, J.B.
Always important. Governor J.B. Pritzker stopped by Shoesmith Elementary School in Kenwood to thank election workers. He also said he's heard no reports of voter intimidation, but was getting updates on the topic every few hours. Pritzker said he's hearing from election judges that voter turnout on Election Day has been lighter than in past elections. And here's a quote from an optimistic governor. I mean, he voted, so this technically is a voter quote. Pritzker said, quote, "But I've also heard there have been an awful lot of young people getting out to vote today. So that's really great to hear. When I hear about that, it means there's a level of enthusiasm that's probably off the charts." What do you think about that, Ben?
Well, embedded in that quote is the notion that the younger you are, the least likely to vote you are. And I know, some people of the baby boomer persuasion, here we are in 2020, are still railing against millennials. Still railing against millennials for 2016 because they have this notion that they didn't vote. The reason Trump won, I've got... D, if I had a nickel for every baby boomer who complained to me about a millennial, I'd be a rich man. And we'd be doing this show from a great studio as opposed to my attic. Actually,
man.
Money is.
Then you can Venmo me money. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be Venmoing you money all the time. Well, I need a millennial to help me with that. But yeah, they're always like... Well, Pritzker, I believe, is a baby boomer. He's on the tail end of the baby boomer generation. So, so he wasn't being critical, but embedded in that comment was a stereotype, that younger people don't vote. And I don't know, it's hard for me. I've been voting since, as soon as I could vote. I turned 18, boom, went to vote. That's what you do. And my mother was like, "You're gonna vote." Took a bus in from Wisconsin to vote for Abner Mikva in 1974. Good God. So he's old, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, that's what's the notion embedded in what Pritzker has to say, that young people don't vote. They're not really paying attention. Doesn't think it applies to them. They have a party to go to. They forgot. They're the people up in Michigan who believe them when they tell them, when MAGA tells them, "Oh yeah, they postponed the election till Wednesday." Oh, okay. I didn't see that in Twitter, but if you say it, it must be true. So there's this prejudice against young voters. I don't know. I think it's like a generational thing. You know what I'm saying, D? I think that I just think that young voters are as ignorant as baby boomers tend to think.
Governor Pritzker also recently warned voters of misinformation that could be posted to social media, urging state residents to consult reputable sources for information in the days ahead. Let's see. He said the governor warned residents from getting their information on social media networks like Facebook and Twitter in the coming days, and to instead consult local election authorities and reputable news outlets for the latest updates in election results. As the votes are counted, Pritzker urged voters to be patient and to be skeptical of claims made on social media, like a bunch of crazy people trashing the fair tax, right? Suggesting that voters could potentially stay off of those platforms in the coming days.
Yeah, I'm with him on that. With you on that one, JB, 100%. Because I deal with a lot of panicky, anxiety-ridden Dems these days, D. And they see something on Facebook, and they go, "Oh, my God," fill in the blank. Like this weekend was really bad when the MAGA people in Texas surrounded the bus. I don't know if you follow that one, but there was a Biden-Harris bus driving somewhere in Texas, and a bunch of MAGA supporters in cars surrounded the bus and forced the bus off the road. And I didn't see the story in real time. I heard about it from anxiety-ridden Dems. And by the time the story got to me, Biden was on the bus. That's how they were telling the story. And Biden was on the bus. Like, wait a minute. Biden was, I was like having a hard time imagining this. Biden was on a bus in Texas? Yeah, with Kamala Harris. They were on the same bus together? Yeah, they were both on a bus. I saw it on Facebook. And then it turned out it was a Biden-Harris bus, but neither Biden nor Harris were on the bus. Everybody's freaking out. And you know what? Part of the reason they're freaking out, let's be honest, is Donald Trump is the master. I have to give him credit in a weird way of trash talking and gaslighting. It's just like I said at the top of the show. He's got this. This is what Pritzker was really getting at, D. And Trump's been playing this game, leading people to believe he's going to declare victory early. That first vote, if that first vote cast in Pennsylvania is for Trump, that's it. It's over. I'm declaring victory.
Right.
And then people are freaking out. You know, well, they're going to stop counting the vote in Pennsylvania. So, yes, I agree with Pritzker that you should be very cautious about news that you just see from your friends on Facebook or what have you, or who knows who's writing it. But you watch, folks. This is my prediction. If those early votes are or if Florida, which is supposed to go early, if Florida goes early for Biden, Trump will flip on a dime, and suddenly every vote must be counted. Every single ballot must be counted before anyone declares victory.
And you said that he will like just say it's over if he's winning, right?
Yeah, if he's winning, over. It's over. Stop counting.
And that's shown to be effective. Remember Iowa, Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, my God. I will never. Thank you for bringing back that. I was railing about that for how long?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were like still counting votes for the Iowa. D, let's just pause to think about the Iowa caucus. The good old days before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Bernie. And yes, Pete Buttigieg just declared victory, and who knew? They were in New Hampshire. Buttigieg is like, and all the people, the TV people are going, he's riding the momentum of this victory in Iowa. What victory?
Right? It seemed to really work.
Yeah, except that he crashed in New Hampshire.
Well, yeah.
You know, except for that part of it.
But, him claiming that it was over early, everyone was like, oh, I guess it's over, you know? Yeah. So, I mean.
That's a good tactic. Didn't work for Buttigieg too well in the to secure the primary, to secure the nomination. But it's an age, we won, it's over. Well, we haven't really. And that Iowa primary was so hard to calculate. Remember, D? It was like all these different rules. We had Miles Kampf-Lasson on trying to explain it to us. It's like, yeah, no, I remember that. What a great memory, D. And I was like the Bernie supporter going, no, Bernie won. Bernie actually won the popular vote.
Oh, damn, the fix is in already.
No, but you watch. Donnie is gonna. You're right. He'll be pulling a Buttigieg if it fits his needs. If it doesn't fit his needs, it'll be every vote must be counted.
We had Pritzker went on to say here, look at a variety of news outlets if you'd like, but be wary of claims you see on social media. So check before you repost anything. Or better yet, you may want to take the next few days off from social media, J.B. Pritzker said. He said Facebook and Twitter will still be there in the morning.
JB said that?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty clever. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I'm surprised that he said something clever, but that's pretty clever. God, I wish I thought of that. Facebook will still be there in the morning. Good one, JB.
It looks like some Chicago business owners are preparing for the worst. Large and small businesses downtown who fear potential vandalism after the election are in plan to board up their storefronts. The governor said National Guard troops are in Chicago. They would be on standby if needed, but the city said there was no plan to deploy them.
Yeah. We talked about this last week. I'm not quite sure what they're expecting. I suppose I can understand. Like I read in the paper, D, that one of the businesses was hit twice over the summer, had its windows broken twice, so they're not messing around. I remember back in 1993, my memory goes way back. This is non-election related. My beloved Chicago Bulls were in the championship versus your favorite team, the Phoenix Suns, D. And just wanted to see if you're paying attention.
Steve Nash, baby.
Well, that was before Steve Nash. It was Kevin Johnson was the point guard.
Kevin Johnson, team. Dan Marley.
Very good, young man. And a young Charles Barkley was the power forward.
That's terrible.
Anyway, it was a great series, but for some reason, everybody was afraid that there would be looting should the Bulls be victorious in Chicago. And so I remember, like, there was the final game in Chicago. I forget what day it was on. But whatever day it was on, that day in the morning, people, store owners were boarding up their businesses, particularly on Michigan Avenue. And when the Suns were victorious and to extend the series, and there was obviously not going to be any looting in Chicago. Nobody was doing anything but sobbing. And the series went back to Phoenix. Charles Barkley, I remember, he goes, well, you guess you could take those. And then he dropped the F-bomb. Bleeping, I don't know why suddenly, I'm cleaning myself up.
Well, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you like it? Okay. I mean, I kind of went off the deep end last week doing the Ice Cube.
You said the F word like 8 times on Friday.
It's in the song. It's like I'm literally quoting the song. Anyway, so Barkley goes, you could take them down. Take down those boards now. I always thought that was pretty funny of Charles Barkley. Of course, the Bulls went on to win Game 6 in Phoenix on John Paxson's 3. You remember that one, D, right? To claim the championship, the first of 3 in that first go-around. And, of course, then they won 3 more later in the 90s. Back to you, D.
Thank you very much, Ben. We're talking the election here.
But you see, you know what? I can also do it for sports. Remember I was talking about Beth, the super genius chess player in the Queen's Gambit? Like, she sees the chessboard. She goes, I got to move here. I got to move there. I got to move there. She sees it just like pops into her brain. She sees things that other people don't see. That's the way I am with basketball. Yeah, in 1993, if you recall, Kevin Johnson was on that team, along with Charles Barkley. Yes, and I believe the center's name was Mark West. Gee, did you ever play chess?
No.
Never?
No.
I went through a phase where I played chess back in, I was like 14. I was kind of into it. It's like, yeah, I like this. And I actually spent one day, I went out for the chess club in high school.
There we go. Let's admit that today.
Maybe that's not a good idea to admit. You know what? The Queen's Gambit just does away with the notion that chess is not cool, because Beth is super cool. So yeah, there I was. So I'm gonna try to, slide in on that Beth coolness. Yeah, I was on the chess club back as a freshman at Evanston High School. Yes.
More of a checkers and Uno kind of guy. You ever play Uno?
No, I've seen it, but I've never played it.
Uno's good times. All right, more voter quotes, huh? You want to do some voter quotes, Ben?
Yeah, man.
All right, I didn't think you'd like this so much. Okay.
I love voter quotes.
We have more voter quotes. Shout out to the Chicago Sun-Times here for talking to these people. This was at 12:04 p.m. A couple on opposite ends of the political spectrum. It says here, we just agree to disagree. At a time when politics have never been more divisive, Dan and Jennifer are learning to make it work. They're engaged and they're on opposite ends of the political spectrum. Let's see here. Dan voted for Donald Trump on Tuesday, while Jennifer voted for Joe Biden. Let's see. Jennifer voted in favor of the proposed fair tax, while Dan said, oh, hell no. Me and Phyllis, we're riding together here.
Danny loves Phyllis. That commercial put him over to the top.
All right, we have quotes here. Here is Jennifer. Jennifer said, quote, it's appalling. I don't know how anyone could be a Trump supporter. He's the worst president ever. He's just a horrible person. Let's see here. So that was the quote from that. Pretty good.
To which Dan said, MAGA. MAGA always, MAGA forever.
Yeah, I don't think they got a quote from Dan here. So
come on, hey, who's that reporter? Get back and get me Danny right now.
It says here, Dan blamed the Democrats for making the country, quote, very divisive over the past 4 years and voiced his support for Trump. And it says here, Jennifer,
the candidate of peace, Donald Trump. Can we all get along? Donnie Trump. Donnie was in Kenosha yesterday. We'll get it. Anyway,
we agree to disagree, they said.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That marriage is going places. I'm sure it will. By the way, D, since you mentioned the Bright One, my beloved Bright One, home delivered every day to Chicago Sun-Times. Sunday Sun-Times had a story about a Trump rally in Mount Greenwood. Did you see this one out by any chance? The rally in Mount Greenwood. Mount Greenwood is the section of Chicago on the far southwest side of the city. A lot of police officers live there. A lot of firefighters live there because it's about as far as you can go. There's residency requirements in the city of Chicago. If you work for the city, you have to live in the city. So it's about as far as you can go in Chicago, you know what I mean, before you get to the suburbs. Anyway, so a lot of cops down there, and Trump does well down there. I think I did the analysis back in 2016. The precinct that the highest turnout for Trump was in Mount Greenwood, over 60%, I want to say, in this one particular precinct. So anyway, they had a rally there, and of Trump supporters, and guess who one of the keynote speakers was at that rally? On Sunday in Mount Greenwood on the far southwest side, all white people. Guess who one of the key speakers was?
Blago.
Yes! Give that man a raise! I'm like, is Blago good or what? Just follow me on this, folks. A year ago, the guy was in the federal penitentiary in Colorado, looking at, 6 more years? I mean, D, let's just take a moment to just whatever your political thoughts are and what your allegiances are, let's just think about the rebound this guy has made. He was looking at 6 years in the clinker. He and his wife devised a brilliant strategy, and I have to give him credit, to butter up to Donald Trump and portray themselves as a victim of the same overzealous deep state prosecutors who are going after Trump for his connections to Russia. And Trump loved it. He went for it. And he commuted Blago's sentence. When did he commute the sentence? I can't remember. I've lost track.
It was February, I think.
Was it February?
I think so.
It was pre-pandemic, obviously. Yeah. And then Trump then Blago came home and had that great press conference outside his house that we play all the time. I'm a Trumpocrat. And the guy goes, yeah.
I'm a Trumpocrat. The Trumpocrats, that's right.
I love that guy in the background. And it's ever since then, bit by bit, he's become more prominent as a spokesperson for Trump in the state of Illinois. And so last week, he gave a little speech in front of mostly black people who were for Trump at a rally at Trump Towers. And Tommy Schuba, the great Tommy Schuba, wrote about it for the Sun-Times. I believe he was the only reporter who was there. And that was the quote where Blago said, "Homies, my homies, I'm a homie," because he was speaking to black people. This Sunday, he was at the rally in Mount Greenwood, and apparently it was mostly white people. He talked about how Trump had betrayed the working class, the working man. So see, Blago's got his line. When he's speaking to black people, it's homies. When he's speaking to white people in Mount Greenwood, it's the working man. It's very flexible, Blago. By the way, when I saw the Sun-Times article, I thought it was Tommy Schuba's name and Rachel Hinton. Immediately texts Tommy, "Did you go to that again? You got the Blago beat?" And he texted back, "No, Rachel Hinton covered that one." So good job by Rachel Hinton and Tom Schuba. Keeping track of Blago. D, you get ready. Blago's running. He's going to run for governor on the Republican ticket. People said to me, "Ben, is it legal for a felon to run for governor?" I go, I don't know, but when have Trump and Blago worried about the fine print in these things, right, D? They'll change the law if they have to. Blago versus DB, Darren Bailey for the Republican nomination. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Funny. That's a very, very bold prediction.
It's been a long time since I've shaved with a normal razor, and it takes a little practice. I'm sorry about that. I got to keep dabbing the...
So I have to apologize for his tardiness. He couldn't find where I put his socks this morning.
Oh my God, good times. Blago gets out of the clink.
That was in February, by the way.
It was February? God, it was cold. I remember. But to give him credit, dude, the guy got out of prison, comes home, gives the press conference, has not stopped running since. He's Trump's main guy. You need me to talk to black people at Trump Tower? No problem. You need me to talk to white people in Mount Greenwood? No problem. I know what to say to each. So, he's become a very popular, powerful asset for the Republican Party, D, proving that anything is possible in Illinois politics. He was the poster child for Democratic corruption just 2 years ago. And now he's Mr. Popularity among Republicans throughout the state.
All right, so that's the local beat on today's election. Now let's talk the national election.
Play the radio.
Those are two people running. President Donald Trump gave an early morning Election Day interview to who else? Fox and Friends on Fox News. Now, of course, he made one last pitch as to why America and Fox News watchers, who are more than likely voting for him anyway, why they should vote MAGA. But a sleepy-sounding president did take some time to rip Fox News, claiming that Fox News, of all networks, gave too much attention to Joey B, Joe Biden.
Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody else, which is sort of shocking to me because Fox has changed a lot. And somebody said, what's the biggest difference between this and 4 years ago? And I say Fox. It's much different. You still have great people.
But
you're three of them.
But you know, Mr. President, can I just say one thing? What they try to do with Fox,
in terms of
but
politics.
we just want to show both. Unlike the other networks, they were trying to show both sides. So, hey, here's President Trump live, here's Joe Biden live. Because we feel it's a responsibility to sell.
We report, they decide.
Yeah,
right.
so I don't think it's an endorsement of anybody. But go ahead. When President Obama speaks, does he get under your skin? They say
in the old days,
that he's the reason.
They wouldn't put Sleepy Joe Biden on every time he opened his mouth. They had other networks for that, frankly.
Oh man, D, I'm sorry, I hadn't heard that. First of all, the guy is exhausted. He's 74 years old. He's been running around like we just talked about Oblago comes out of federal prison after 8 years, hits the ground running. All right, it's like making up for lost time, appealing to black people, white people, whatever. Here's Donnie. Age 74, is that what he is? I think he's 74.
Yeah.
Just got over COVID, right? Yeah. Probably still has it, Lord knows. He's on so many steroids. They got him pumped up. He's been running from one end of the country to the other, like 3 rallies a day.
He did 5. He did 5 rallies on Sunday.
Yeah, gets up. I mean, I got to give the guy credit. Gets up early on Tuesday, on Election Day, and I'm going on Fox TV to whine about Fox. Oh, my God. You're whining. This will prove you. Republican, dude, why wasn't I a Republican? I mean, it's so easy to be a Republican. Like, here's Fox TV has built everything that Donald Trump has is a result of Fox TV in terms of politics. I mean, well, and I got to give NBC, they put him on The Apprentice. And so it's pretty clear that without The Apprentice, he would not be president of the United States. So you got it. All right, two networks, one NBC, one Fox. He's complaining about both of them. Like, they don't give him enough attention. It's like, how could he possibly? He should be going on there. I want to thank you, Fox. Win or lose today, I owe it all to you. But no, he's already like, it's a part of the excuse is forming in his head. If he loses tonight, it's because Fox, they gave him too much time to Sleepy Joe. And the old boy, I don't know who that guy was from Fox, defending Fox.
Now, come on, we're fair. And balance.
Wait a minute. This is the funniest. The other networks don't show Donald Trump. Guys, are you kidding me? CNN? They owe he should be sending a check to. Remember CNN in 2016, D? Donald Trump will be arriving in Phoenix in about half hour. His plane's a little late. We have a crew on hand at the airport. Wait, there's his plane. His plane is there. You can see they'd be like waiting to cut in. Now suddenly Fox is like, oh no, we're the only ones who present both candidates. Yeah, you're right, Fox. I've never seen Donald Trump on any other network but yours. Oh, it's a good thing you're. Dude, man, come on. Come on, you should have. I don't know what shit he said. You should have said, Donnie, man, whatever you're smoking, I want some of that because that's some trippy stuff.
Yeah, he talks about Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Donald. I'm really tired.
Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody else.
But you know what? I'll say that you're right. He does. He sounds like he's he's a trumpet player in a jazz band. He's been up all night. It's 5 a.m. He's drinking shots of whiskey. Smoked a couple doobies in the back alley. Yeah, man, I live in we play miles. But in his defense, 5 rallies. Come on, man. Could you imagine doing 5 rallies?
And then on Sunday, he did one in Miami at like 11:30 midnight. And they had like curfew at midnight. People are out there. Yeah, go Trump. Like all breaking the curfew.
Oh, my God. Yeah, man. This is a trip, dude. This is really... I've never seen anything like this. I've been following politics a long time. I'm joking at the top of the show. I'm excited by every election, but Donald Trump is just, he's just a whole new creature. You know, I don't know if anybody else can actually replicate it, but the thought of Donald Trump going on Fox TV and complaining, and by the way, he'll complain about NBC. Everything he would in politics, but is a result of NBC giving him The Apprentice. How many years was he on that show, D? Like 10 years or something like that?
A good amount of time.
Good long run. And that's the whole brand, firing people, being a decisive businessman. He was in bankruptcy. His business was like in shambles. And I think the guy's name is Burnett, the producer for NBC, who put him on The Apprentice. Made him the host of The Apprentice. It turned around the whole public's image of Donald Trump. Suddenly he was a successful, decisive, forceful businessman, as opposed to a bankrupt buffoon. And now he's complaining. I don't get enough coverage. You don't adore me enough, Fox. Wow. But if I'm Fox, I'm like, forget it, Donnie. That's it. Could you imagine if he hung up on Donald Trump?
I think he's given a little shout out to his crazy YouTube audience too. You know what I mean?
Who, Donnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, they stay with him through thick and thin. If you're watching, they'll flip on a dime just like he will, D, if necessary. If Florida comes in for Biden, and Florida's one of those swing states, I think it's off the top of my head. Oh, if I could pull this off. Florida, Ohio, Iowa, and Texas. Is that impressive or what? Man? Okay? Told you. I'm like bathing a chessboard. Those are the 4 states that will be able to tabulate their votes fairly quickly. And that includes the mail-in votes, the absentee votes, in-person votes, day-of votes, all be tabulated. So they'll be fast. So if you see, oh my God, D, if you see Texas go Biden, Trump, we got to count every vote. Pennsylvania, we can't until every vote has been counted, and Fox TV will be like, what's up? That's what it is. That's the flip flop. Every vote must be counted.
The president will be spending the day in Washington. He's expected to host an election watch party tonight at the White House, which has been protected by a non-scalable barrier. Shops in D.C. have been boarded up in anticipation of unrest as well. So, yeah, Trump's going to be hosting a watch party tonight. He better wake up.
Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody.
Joe Biden started the day at church, where he visited the graves of his first wife and his son, Beau. He'll spend the evening in Delaware, and aides say he may address the nation.
So he's not, they've done away with this tradition of we're going to campaign to the final vote. You remember that one day? Like Obama would be flying in Wisconsin, flying from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania, flying in. And then, breathless newscasters, the plane has landed. And so undecided voters go, oh, I'm really enthusiastic about Barack Obama making this last minute stop at Wisconsin. I think I'll vote for Barack Obama. And then people think I have a low opinion of voters, D. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm glad to see that they're not doing that. All right, guys, everybody's made up their mind. What is it, half the people have already voted anyway? Just stay at home. It seems like Donald Trump should be drinking tea with honey or something. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from the reefer and the cigarettes and the whiskey at 4 a.m, all right? It's okay to listen to Miles Davis, but you don't have to be playing the horn. Ooh, wow, sad. Okay. So, I'm glad they're just chilling on Election Day. No need to fly from one end of everybody's already decided how they're going to vote. Kenny Davis put it out on Facebook. All right. We already know how we're voting.
All right. So from news about people who are very old to news about a politician who's very young.
Ooh.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, New York Congresswoman, she released a video recently. Very inspiring here. She tweeted it. I'm going to play the video in moments here, but before we do that, more voter quotes. Yeah.
Okay, that's what we. Oh, I was like, D, can we just a few more? Hey, wait a minute. Any more suggestions from Muhammad on how voting places may be laid out? You know, I think you should move the desk there. Voter, like man on the street quote. Everybody's a critic. Really, they don't like the lighting in this voting place. Could you like dim the bulb?
All right, we're gonna hear from voter Karia. All right,
Ooh, Karia.
I may be butchering that name. I don't know. Karia. This was at 1:51 p.m. Well, this was like 5 minutes ago. Let's see here. Karia says, let's see. Oh, she's 44 years old, by the way. Karia says this is probably the most important vote we have for president in a generation. There's just very divisive politics, and just a lot of the outcome of this is very consequential as to how we move forward as a country. Karia and his wife Roxanne brought their 6-year-old son Tovin and 4-year-old daughter Rosabella with them to vote at Burr Elementary School in Wicker Park. Karia said it's been a really good experience. They've had some good interaction with us. They watched us cast our ballots. I wanted to introduce them, so over the years they'll get more involved, bringing their kids along.
Wow, can I just say something that has nothing to do with that's a great quote, by the way. Good job, guys. Yeah, it is a consequential election, but Burr Elementary, back in the 70s, my mom taught there. When you said Burr, I'm like, whoa, that was like something trippy about that, D. It's like, oh my God, that's where my mom taught. Wow, man. Burr in the school. Jonathan Burr, I believe it's called. I believe the first name is.
Oh, I thought it was Bill Burr Elementary School.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, these kids are lunatic.
Like, hey, Donald Trump. Huh? I know, that's your guy. That's your guy. You put him on a stamp. That's your guy. That's my Bill Burr, Steve Jobs imitation. One of the greatest comic bits, folks, that you will ever see. That's your guy. Huh? That's your hero.
All right. Sadly, that's the end of voter quotes. Maybe I'll find some more before we roll out today's show. But here's the ad from AOC.
This year, we've experienced the disastrous consequences of leadership that leaves everyone to fend for themselves. But our community has proven that we are stronger together. We're stronger when we reject racism and hatred. And our future is brighter when we commit to healthcare as a human right, climate action, and the creation of millions of good jobs. A better world is possible. We just need to choose it. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I approve this message.
There it was.
AOC. You know, when Maya comes on, let's play that AOC quote for her, see what she thinks about AOC. I've never asked Maya what her thoughts about AOC are. I know this. I know we shouldn't look ahead because the votes have to be counted. But let's say Joey B wins. Okay, D? Let's just say that next fight, that big fight down the road, and all my lefty friends are already telling me about it. It'll be the AOCs of the world trying to push the Democratic Party to the left. Push. Come on, push. Push.
Push.
Come on.
Come on, push.
And Joe Biden's never really been a lefty. So he'll be like, stop pushing me, okay? So AOC is going to be really important in the coming months. Well, one way or the other, she's going to be important. She's obviously the fact that she's doing a commercial like that. Remember the Dems only gave her like, what did they give her, a minute at the convention?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all right, wrap it up, lady. Come on.
They treat her like they treat you and me. Just ignore these lefty creatures. They're embarrassing us. By the way, Dennis, can I just make a sports reference here at this point in the show? Just a brief.
I mean, I think you're going to anyway, so go ahead.
I don't know if we talked about this at all last week, but my beloved Chicago White Sox hired a new manager, Tony La Russa. Were you paying attention? Hey,
hell yeah, you're damn right. I was paying attention. Congratulations. That's a good. That's a good get there.
I liked it too. I like Tony La Russa is one of the most successful managers in the history of the game. I think he's won the third most games of any manager. He managed the White Sox. He managed Dennis's beloved St. Louis Cardinals. He managed the Oakland A's. The guy's been around. All right. So you figure White Sox fans would be ecstatic. But White Sox fans, D, they are the biggest glass half empty crew of malcontents I've ever seen in sports. They're always complaining about something. Like you go to a White Sox game and the hot dog's not, this hot dog's not what it used to be. White Sox fans are always, that's it. I'm never going to another White Sox game. They're always like threatening not to go to a game, and the White Sox are always bending over backwards to make them feel good. Please come to our games. It really doesn't matter because the White Sox are subsidized by the taxpayers anyway. So White Sox fans, they just have this sense of entitlement, which is really bizarre. They're different breed than Cub fans. Anyway, White Sox fans are all complaining. And you know why? They go, he's too old. He's 76 years old. I'm wondering, do White Sox fans follow politics? I mean, we have an election. What's Joey B? I always forget. Is he 78 or 77?
I believe he's 77.
I think he's 77. He will be 77, and Donnie's 74. You know, I mean, like, La Russa fits right in.
All right, boys, come on, pitch that ball. Pitch it. Pitch it. Hit it out of the park.
Well, White Sox fans are, and here's why. This is White Sox fans. Will he be able to communicate with today's player? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not that hard, you know. They flipped bats today. That'll drive him crazy. I got a funny feeling. Hey, Sox fans, Tony La Russa, he somehow or other managed to communicate with every phase of player, including the steroids phase in the 90s.
Hey,
sorry,
Maya's here.
Is that Maya? All right, Maya's here. I was a little worried that she wasn't going to show up. She's here. She jokingly said she was day drinking. That was just a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking. It's too late now. The joke did not happen. Only reality.
Dee, should we take a break and then come back with Maya?
Yeah. We'll come right back here. We'll play a little song from Mike Girardi, and when we come back, Maya's going to be talking with us, talking about tonight's live election live stream. It's going to be fantastic. Don't go anywhere. It's the Ben Joravsky Show. We are live from my apartment in Ben's attic.
Just for fun, we got a feeling this mayor's the one. We want a boss who talks real tough. When we ask too many questions, we want to be told to shut up. Tax and crime and financing, we can pay for anything like shopping malls with movie screens and everything but what you need to kids who wanna eat for free. Get a fucking PhD and don't you dare complain to me if you want an opportunity. Someday we are the ones who fall in line. We've been the masochists 1,000 times. We are the ones who fall in line. They say they want to level with you, like they level public housing and they're level in schools. You gotta file just to beg for the truth, and if they reject it, then shame on you.
want an answer. It's not something you ignore.
I think you're 100% full of shit, is what I think.
Hour number 2 of your Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you in part by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 9, the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 150, and the Chicago Federation of Labor. Benny J, take it away.
That is a great song, Maya, by Michael Girardi. We are the ones who fall in line. Tax incremental financing.
That was a song about TIFs?
Yes.
Yeah.
TIFs. Michael Girardi is a high quality musician, in my humble opinion. A great rock guy. Plays the guitar. And he's also a regular listener to the show. And so he just picks up on various themes that we talk about. And you know me and TIFs. And he when he's done with it, Maya, it's more like a parable. You know what I mean? Like TIFs is a sort of a symbol of something greater that's wrong with voters and Chicagoans and whatever. Michael Girardi. Great song there. All right, Maya, I know there's a few, lots of things we want to talk about election, but let's start talking about our beloved Reader. Big news from the Reader. Not so good. And so let's just put it out there and talk about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, so the Reader has managed to hang on this long since the pandemic started without laying anyone off, without furloughs, without requiring people to take pay cuts. But unfortunately, since we got a PPP loan, so that helped a lot as well. We lost over 90% of our advertising revenue when the pandemic started, and we still haven't recovered. But we were able to make things work without any drastic changes, I guess other than maybe the paper going bi-weekly. We were pretty good until this point. But now, unfortunately, the financial situation has become really dire. And as of this week, people are taking voluntary furloughs, and some people are taking pay cuts. Some people are switching to part-time because we are still transitioning to a nonprofit model. And until we're fully done with that, there's a lot of money that there's a lot of revenue we can't access. So I'm on furlough now. This is my first election day in 4 years that I'm not out reporting. And most everyone else on staff, including you as well, have had to make these sacrifices. So we are unionized, and the union agreed to work with management on this. People volunteered their paychecks to help keep the paper going. So yeah, just want to make sure everyone that's listening knows about this. And if you'd like to help us out, if you'd like to put the Reader on for sure financial footing, please consider buying an ad. Please consider donating or buying some merch at chicagoreader.com/store. Yeah, so I'm on furlough until November 16th, and really eager to come back to work, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to come do the show today and do the show with us tonight. It's we're billing it as like a First Tuesday special, Ben Joravsky Show First Tuesday special. Maya is my partner in crime for First Tuesdays, and we used to do that at the Hideout, of course, but with the pandemic, that ended, and so we're going to do this show tonight. And I didn't know. I was a little, I didn't know if you were going to sign on to do it. And I just want to thank you very much, Maya, on furlough, doing it for the team. And I'll say this. I've been at the Reader for many years. I'm a member of the union, as Maya is. I was at the meetings. And the encouraging thing, I would say, is that it seems as though the staff, the union, is pretty much in line with management at the Reader. Like I remember 2016, some really nasty negotiations. This is old ownership, some nasty things that were said at negotiations, a strong feeling on the part of rank and file that they were concealing information from us, that they weren't being upfront. TB, Tracy Bain, is not like that at all. She's the current publisher of the Reader.
It's really a different story with Tracy, and I think that her approach to leadership and transparency is really what helped us as a union,
Yeah. So
this decision and accept that this is necessary and stuff. So big shout out to Tracy Bain. She's also literally making money out of just the most, I mean, anything that can be monetized, she's been doing it successfully.
Oh,
So,
speaking of which, promote your book, but let me just say, TB Tracy Bain will be. I reached out to her, Maya. At some point she'll be joining us tonight, and she'll be promoting the hell out of the Reader. I'm going to go, Tracy, promote the Reader and tell people what they can do to help the Reader, and then also talk politics. She's a political junkie and has been since the 80s. So
since the 80s.
She's one of the people who will be joining us tonight. We have a whole bunch of people that we'll be reaching out to. But yeah, one of the promotional things that the Reader's doing, staff writers are collecting their greatest hits. And I believe you're next in line, if I'm correct, with your greatest hits, which is coming out really soon.
It's coming soon. We don't have an exact date yet, but it's in the final stages of getting proofed and designed and stuff. It'll be a collection of my stories on housing issues going back to 2014. When I was freelancing at the Reader before I started on staff. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think it'll be a useful thing to have as like a little glimpse of history from at least one reporter's vantage point for the last 6 years.
All right, you mentioned that your tradition over the last 4 years of being out in the field on Election Day, and talk a little bit about 2016. As I recall, you were on the Southwest side.
Yeah.
I remember I was at the Reader office. Go ahead, just a little, go take us.
Yeah, so I was just looking at this story again. I was down in Clearing and Garfield Ridge. Mike Madigan's congressional district, State House district, and kind of the area around Midway. So traditional machine Democratic stronghold, but also a place that had a bunch of precincts go for Trump in the primary that year. So I spent that day just talking to folks at bars and in front of polling places. I saw a bunch of people with a lot of Trump paraphernalia. One of them was David Krupa, who, if you remember, then ran for alderman against Marty Quinn in 2019. Marty Quinn pulled some really dirty tricks, and basically they really went overboard with the petition challenges and the way they were trying to stop this Krupa guy's momentum. Krupa had some backing from Jeannie Ives, I believe, but of course he didn't stand much of a chance against Marty Quinn. But I think it was the first time that the Madigan's people had to sweat a little bit, because in the context of that kid running, that he was 18 when he was running, basically, or maybe 19. He lied to me about his age when I first met him, 2016, when I was doing the Election Day reporting. But basically,
wait, he said how old did he say he was?
He told me he was 18, but he was not. And when he was launching his campaign, he actually called me and asked me, this was like in the summer of 2018. He called me and asked me if I could remove the article that mentioned him from the Reader's website, and because he lied to me about his age. And I was like, I'm definitely not removing any articles, but I will definitely say that you lied about your age the next time I write about you.
Wait, time out. How old was he? He said he was 18.
He was 17 in reality in 2016.
So why would he? I mean, I'm just trying to understand the motivation. I know this is.
I asked him the same question. He told me that he was just so excited to be interviewed about his support for Trump, which, by the way, he also later, in the context of running for alderman, he also rescinded and denied that he was really big into Trump. He viewed that as a liability, I guess. So he went ahead and distanced himself from his earlier positions on Trump. So he basically, the motivation was that he wanted to be quoted in the paper. He thought that if he said he was underage, that I would not be able to quote him, because he thought maybe I would need his parents' permission. And basically, yeah, he was just really excited about Trump and really wanted his voice heard. And that's why he lied to me.
Wow.
It's okay. It's okay. Like that's, I didn't verify his date of birth with any ID he had on him. Yeah. So. Maybe
I have to say, we're on a tangent here, but the David Krupa thing was a fascinating little a story that was really hot in the news for a while. The Tribune went nuts with it. And that was the one, ladies and gentlemen, the kid was running against Madigan's handpicked alderman. And they went and they got affidavits from voters in the 13th ward or in the 30th district around that area to say they had
back their signatures.
Yeah, take back your signatures.
Because they wanted to, they wanted to challenge his petition signatures, and so they went around asking people to like rescind their support for Krupa and like sign affidavits saying that they take back their signature. But they ended up going to getting more of these affidavits than there were actual signatures on David's petitions. So this was like a big.
Because they looked terrible, Maya. I mean, it was just overkill. Like Marty was going to win that election. You know what I'm saying? It was just like classic Madigan overkill.
Yeah, classic Madigan overkill. But I mean, I think that they really must have been sweating, because I also don't think Marty would have ever sat down with me for an interview if he didn't think that maybe it was worth doing given the challenge he was facing.
Well, you know what? I was shocked. I'm so used to people from the Madigan organization of the Southwest side just ignoring me over the years when I've reached out to them. They don't
need you, Ben.
Yeah, they don't need me. And plus, the leader is like a weird creature on the north side. You know what I'm saying? It's so far removed. Steve Brown, who is the official spokesperson for Michael Madigan, has always gotten back to me. But I don't even think he lives in Chicago. I think Steve lives in Peoria or something. So he's like the official spokesman of the Madigan empire. But like individual 13th Ward operatives never call. But Marty called me back. I remember I was shocked. And when I forget when I had to call him, 2016 or something. So maybe he's just maybe we're being unfair to him when we say he wouldn't have sat down with you. Maybe, he's just a little more open-minded. But I love that story. Krupa, they overkill and they had to back off and they let him run.
It's so part of the weird thing. One of the weird things about that interview with Marty was just like that their campaign office, they're like the base of their political organization, like Madigan as chairman of the state Democratic Party, as Speaker of the House, as a representative of that district. And then Marty's, office as alderman, all of those functions are consolidated in one office, which is like in the Lithuanian Museum on Pulaski. Like very weird scene. The interview with Marty happened in like a kind of a conference room, but really was like part of the museum. There was all these like Lithuanian pictures on the walls and stuff. It was really a weird scene, but it's, you can't even get to that office unless you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
This is not like a random storefront aldermanic office where like, you can go and get, you can pass it by, go in, whatever. Everything is like only for people in the know.
Yeah, by the way, the Marty in question, we keep calling him Marty. Marty Quinn is his name, the alderman of the 13th Ward. He's one of Mike Madigan's top political operatives. And this is why I called him. I had to call him. I didn't realize until relatively late, I'm a little embarrassed to make this confession, Maya, that Marty Quinn was such a well-regarded political operative for the Madigan organization. I viewed him as this quiet, obedient alderman who pretty much voted whichever way Mayor Daley wanted him to vote or Mayor Rahm wanted him to vote in the Chicago City Council. Showed no initiative, certainly never did anything to like stand out in any citywide way, just a loyal vote. I always figured that Madigan gave the assurance to Rahm or Daley that his alderman would vote whichever way they wanted. And in return, Daley and Rahm would stay out of Madigan's business in Springfield. And then I discovered that Marty Quinn is the operative that Madigan dispatches to run various state rep campaigns that he thinks are really important, like Juliana Stratton's effort in against Kenny Duncan in 2016, very important race for Madigan to win. And I was like, this silent guy is the brains of the political operation. And so I did the interview with him.
Speaks softly and carries a big stick.
Yes. And I came away with a whole new impression of Marty Quinn. And that's when I had to reach out to him. Now, I will say this. The standard Madigan tactic, it's not that sophisticated as you were just alluding. It's like barrage people with negative flyers that exaggerate whatever flaws the opponent has and use every trick at your disposal to try to either tie them up in court, keep them off the ballot, or just harass them. So it's not like really sophisticated electioneering that they're doing here. It's more like they have a club and they're hitting you over the head with it.
Totally. Listen, but what do you think? So what do you think is going to happen with the state's attorney's race? The Kim Foxx, Pat O'Brien matchup?
Well,
you think Pat O'Brien will mobilize a big showing in the suburbs?
By the way, we will be discussing this tonight at length with various party operatives. We'll be coming on with Maya and myself. I believe that Kim Foxx will win that election. I'll get your thoughts on this, but since you asked me, I'll start off with my opinion first. I believe Kim Foxx will win that election. I think that you're asking a lot of voters to split their vote at a moment like this. So many of the voters that I know, Maya, are just fixated on that top slot, Joey B versus Donnie. And it just, you know what I'm saying? You're asking a lot for them to then drop down in great enough numbers to distinguish between the state's attorney's race. So that's just, it's not as though it's going to be a huge verdict on behalf of Kim Foxx. I think she will get really strong support from black voters, no question. Pat O'Brien with that campaign about Save Chicago, vote for me. Any black voter over the age of 50 will be reminded of Bernie Epton's, vote for me before it's too late. Yeah, so okay, guys, you're really subtle with this one. So I'm predicting Kim Foxx. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so too. It might be pretty close, but most of Cook County's like the south suburbs are mostly have like a very large African American population. As we know, that's a demographic that turns out to vote very, very reliably. So I think she's probably going to do well in the south suburbs. She lives in Flossmoor, I think. So I think she's got her solid base there. I'm assuming that the black vote in the city will also obviously go for Kim Foxx. And I mean, the lakefront liberals, they're going to vote for Kim Foxx too. I guess what I wonder about is are the kind of northwest and north suburbs of Cook County going to turn out heavily for Trump and therefore be voting for Pat O'Brien as well?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think that'll be a decisive vote. Yeah.
But what's the biggest what are the most densely populated northern suburbs north of Chicago, but still in Cook County? I mean, Evanston, solidly blue place. Mm-hmm. What else is up there?
Well, Northbrook, Cook County is, it spreads, goes pretty north. I was looking at, and Jacob Kaplan will be joining us tonight. He's the executive director of the Democratic Party and a close aide to Tony Preckwinkle, political aide, big time supporter of Kim Foxx. And I was curious about Alderman Committeeman Brendan Riley, who's the alderman of the 42nd Ward downtown, the Gold Coast Ward. I haven't talked to you about this, Maya, but he came out for Patrick O'Brien on the grounds that somehow or other what's that?
Brendan Riley or Brian Hopkins did?
Brendan Riley literally came out for Patrick O'Brien and gave $1,000 contribution to the campaign. Brian Hopkins, who's the alderman committeeman of the 2nd Ward, which is that squiggly, weird shaped thing, amoeba-like thing that they put together to put all the development deals along the Chicago River in one ward under an alderman they trusted to push it through and get Fioretti out of politics. He is neutral. He's officially neutral. But Brendan Riley, and the notion is that Gold Coast voters blame Kim Foxx somehow or other for the rioting that took place in August throughout Michigan Avenue. Maya, I don't know how you can make that stretch. I mean, look, voters will do anything they want. I understand, but just it's such a stretch to say that.
Well, listen, the Gold Coast voters are not going to decide this election. I really don't think that they're going to be that much of a factor, even if they all vote for Pat O'Brien.
Well, you're probably right. That Pat O'Brien's strategy is that to follow your lines, your thought thinking. Every MAGA voter in Cook County goes for him. He wins over a few blue collar Democrats on the northwest, southwest side, and what puts him over the top is the Gold Coast and rich voters in that area. I agree with you. I think it's a long shot strategy, and I don't think it's going to work. But that's what the interesting thing is: will the Democratic Party punish Brendan Riley? He's a committeeman, and so will they come up with some kind of punishment with him for breaking ranks? A lot of the black committeemen in Chicago are saying that he should not be allowed to, to get away with that.
But Brendan Riley, as you yourself said, I mean, that's rarely, if ever, a contested election for aldermen of basically the loop. Takes a lot of money. No one wants to spend it. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to cost him his seat if he supports Pat O'Brien.
No, but you know what? You're going to get mad at me what I'm about to say, but I have to say it. I have a soft spot in my heart for Brendan Riley, and I'll tell you why. And it's the first time I saw Maya and saw what a badass she was. It has reader related. Going back to the discussion that we opened with when we were struggling with old ownership, not new ownership, but old ownership. I had the feeling they were going to try to sell us out, Maya, and put us out of existence. We had a rally outside the old Sun-Times office. It was in the 42nd Ward. It was right at the banks of the Chicago River. It was a rainy day. I think it was in 2016. And Bob Ryder from the Federation of Labor brought that big rat. I remember the big rat was there. Scabby was there. And Maya was not a full-time staff writer, as I recall back then, or maybe she was a rookie on probation. I can't remember.
I wasn't in the union yet. I was still a contractor.
She was still. This girl's got such guts. She showed up for our rally, man. I was like, damn, this is a badass, Maya. She showed up for our rally. And they were watching you, Maya. But anyway, Brendan Riley showed up. Remember, I don't know.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he gave a speech on our behalf, and it was an important thing because I think Bob Ryder got him to come, but that was important because he's the alderman of the ward. You know what I mean? So the cops are going to harass us. It was just the way, he goes, the reader is taking some shots at me, and he mentioned me. This Ben is taking some shots at me, but we need the reader. I'm like, ever since then, Maya, I hate to say, I just got cut him a little slack.
Yeah, you always have a soft spot for people who are personally nice to you.
That is correct. And it's so true. Ameya Pawar was also at that rally.
For people who are personally nice. That's okay.
Yes. But people who are negative to me, the memory never fades and never goes anywhere.
It doesn't.
So
Listen, do you think we'll know the election results tonight?
You're talking about the presidential race, correct? Yeah. Yes. I do not believe that. We will have one of our guests, Rose Calaccio, has memorized the rule book, Maya. So she knows every single state, like what their system is for when the votes get counted and when absentee ballots get counted and mail-in ballots get counted, et cetera, and so forth. But I've been predicting all along, and I'll say this again tonight, that Donald Trump, if one of the first states that'll come in will be Florida, because they're pretty good at counting their ballots. I think Iowa is pretty good at counting its ballots as well. Ohio. If these states show that Joe Biden is doing well, like let's say he is winning in Florida, you will see Donald Trump flip and he'll start calling for no declaration of victories until every vote is counted. Right now, he's been saying, let's end it tonight. Do you follow what I'm saying? So my guess is that we will not know tonight definitively who the next president is.
I think so too. I think it's going to be like December before we know. But also, as far as Florida goes, I really doubt that Joe Biden is going to take it because he's really not done well with the more conservative Latino population that's there.
The Cuban population, yes. Yeah, Cuban, I didn't think there was any chance.
Like conservative Latinos who are not the sort of like working class stereotype. I think a huge part of that demographic are really not impressed with Joe Biden. So
Well, like I said, if Joe Biden wins Florida or is ahead in Florida, that's an indication that it's putting in it's a big night for Joey B. You're right. I would not expect him to win Florida, although Barack Obama won it. Do you have any, in particular, anxieties that you're dealing with as you look forward to this election?
I don't know if I guess there's like a general anxiety, but also if Joe Biden doesn't win, it's going to be so clear why. I just think that I don't understand why the Democrats continue to push for the same kind of routine of like running moderate candidates who don't stand for anything against right-wing candidates who never kind of falter in their messaging to their base and seem to really appeal to people just because they appear to be having some kind of position on things. Like they may be racist and, you know, they may be standing for things that liberals find, abominable, but people clearly like people who have a position. And whether it's Joe Biden or Amy McGrath in Kentucky or any of these other like Democratic Party moderates, I'm sort of, I feel like if and when they lose their races, like, will the Democratic Party then finally realize that like they can't keep running these, like they can't keep trying to flip people? Like that maybe a winning strategy would be to put out candidates who are actually going to mobilize people that don't usually participate in politics and don't usually vote. And I mean, I was just I'm really watching the Kentucky race really closely because I think, I mean, Mitch McConnell is a much more powerful figure than Donald Trump in so many ways, and more powerful than any Republican president. And I mean, the DNC just set $88 million on fire in that race. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine from Kentucky who really knows Kentucky politics very well. She's just basically seen as like an outside person who's not, who has just she's not known. She's an outsider. It was a completely ridiculous strategy to put all the money behind this person. And granted, my friend also doesn't think that Booker would have done any better, Charles Booker. I mean, he thinks that Charles Booker would have lost as well, but that he would have done better because he would have mobilized more people to come out. So I don't know, man. It just seems like no matter how many times the same story turns out with the same ending, I don't know why the Democratic Party is just so committed to not rocking the boat, to shutting out people who appear to be rocking the boat in any way.
Yeah. By the way, just to fill in the blanks, Amy McGrath is the nominee in Kentucky. She's running against Mitch McConnell, and Charles Booker ran against her from the left in the primary. Did surprisingly well. He surprised people because you're right, Maya. The conventional wisdom of Democratic strategists that goes back to the aftermath of the George McGovern's loss in 1972 is go to the center, go to the center, go to the center. Just expect the left to follow you, and because they have no choice, and that's the strategy that they're following. And they went with Amy McGrath, and the money poured in to a large degree. I think it would have been there for Booker as well. I don't know if it'd been as much, but it was just like, see, I know Dems, Maya. I know them so well. I've been around them my whole life. They hate Mitch McConnell. So the appeals were like, this is the lady running against Mitch McConnell. Boom, money. I'll write a check. You got what I'm saying? Like $25. Here you go, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, we played a clip from AOC a little while ago before he came on the air, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the Congresswoman from New York. And it's, by the way, I don't know if you've been following this. It's reversed with the Republicans. They have poured millions of dollars into the campaign against AOC.
Yeah.
For some phenomenal amount of money. There's no way this Republican is going to win, but the passion that MAGA has against AOC is so intense that they just pour money into this guy, who's running the weirdest campaign. He's like trying to appeal to Joe Cowley Democrats. That's the man that AOC defeated back in 2018. So I hear you. We'll be talking about that much more tonight, I know. I just wanted just one little memory, which I'll probably talk about again tonight. I wrote about it for the Reader. 2016, our good friend, oh my God, Robin Amer was our editor and friend. And whenever I think of the 2016 election, I will think of Robin. I was in Robin's office, and I literally wrote my article that night, watching her reaction and the reaction of some of the other Reader personnel who were in the office that night as the votes came in. And it was almost surreal. It was just when the so-called wall collapsed in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan, the wall that Hillary never fortified, never bothered to go to those states, basically, and Trump won.
I was reminded today that she never even bothered to go to Wisconsin. Yeah. She didn't have any campaign events in Wisconsin at all.
Yes, so it was no surprise that she lost Wisconsin. I think it'll be different in Wisconsin tonight, but that's the state.
I think Biden's going to get Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, I think Biden's going to get Wisconsin. I just don't know when. Pennsylvania is the state where this is why Trump's whole strategy of declaring the election early is Trump's belief is that the early vote in Pennsylvania will be in favor of him because day of voting, it's people who vote that day. And so that's why he's saying, I want to I want to declare victory early, because he's going to say, Pennsylvania's for me, declaring victory. That's like the mindset of Trump, because the mail-in vote, the absentee vote comes in, gets counted afterwards, after the day of vote in Pennsylvania. So all the experts are saying, well, Pennsylvania's true vote won't be known for another few days at least. But Wisconsin, I think they'll get the vote out earlier, and I think Joe Biden will win it, and we'll know tonight. Any closing thoughts you want to give, Maya, about the show tonight before I let you go?
No, I'm just, I've started watching a little bit of TV. It's all, I don't know. It all feels pretty meaningless right now.
Well, she'll be feeling greater meaning, I'm sure, at 8:00, and when that rolls around. All right, Maya.
By then, my sobriety may have declined a lot more than it has now. So just fair warning.
Fair warning. All right. You're reminding me of this has been on my mind. I watched the Netflix show about the great chess player. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's Queen's Gambit. It's about a young woman who plays chess. She's a chess genius. And her problem is that she drinks too much. So the issue is, will she be on top of her game, or will she hit the bottle? That's like a little subplot. So we're asking the same question about Maya. Will she be on top?
I'm still going to be on my game.
All right. By the way, Maya, I got to give you a shout out. For some reason, I was looking for your tweets this week. I don't know why. Anyway, I got onto your photo up page. I didn't realize you were such a good photographer. So shout out to Maya.
It's been a while.
Yeah. There's a whole page, folks, if you go on the internet, Maya's photographs. And they're pretty cool. I forgot that you were a photojournalist when this all began. All right, Maya, stay safe and sound. We'll be talking to you. We'll be back with you at 8:00.
Talk to you soon. Oh, and by the way, for folks listening, I'll also be taking over the Reader's Instagram from 6 to 7. So look out for me there as well.
All right, very good. Maya's going to be very busy from 6 o'clock on. All right, Maya, we'll be talking to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, do you got any updates for me, young man?
Yeah. By the way, guys, 8:00 tonight. That's when we're going to be doing this show. It's going to be an election special. Maya's going to be joining us. We're combining First Tuesday and the Ben Joravsky Show. We're calling it a Ben Joravsky Show First Tuesday special. How about that, huh? It's going to be
good.
I know, right? It's going to be at 8:00 tonight. Join us, everybody. If you're listening on the download right now and you maybe work or something during the live show, well, check out the live show. Put whatever you're watching on mute. Listen to us as we try to give you the results the best we can. Maya's going to be with us. We've reached out to quite a few people to join us as well. I believe David Ferris is going to be joining us. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of people who've agreed. Just call us anytime. We're a little reluctant to say who but I'll just like Robert Peters, David Ferris, Jacob Kaplan, and Monroe, Rose Calaccio, Henry Davis, all these different people that I've reached out to. I just don't know if we're going to get to them all, D. I have no idea what tonight's going to be. By the way, I also think tonight will be an interesting artifact. We're going to drop it as a podcast, probably over the weekend or something. Like a year from now, if you want to see the madness, where we are on election night 2020, this is a little glimpse into the brains of Ben Joravsky and Maya.
We're going to have plenty to talk about tomorrow, that's for sure. But tonight, you should join us, 8 o'clock. We're going to be live streaming, I don't know, till about 11, I say. 11 o'clock, maybe a little earlier. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just see how it goes. We'll play it by ear. And you should join us, like I said. Put whatever you're watching on mute and listen along for the Ben Joravsky Show First Tuesday special. Ben, we have more voter quotes.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
This is making my day, these voter quotes.
This segment is a sleeper hit. I would have made a little intro for it if I would have known. All right, we do have voter quotes here. Yes, the Chicago Sun-Times is out on the street, and they are talking to voters who went out today and casted their ballots. This was at 2:08. All right, not long ago here. It's a Vietnam vet. This guy's name's Ivan. He's 64 years old. He owns a pest control service and served in Vietnam with the Army. He says here, quote, voter quote, I'm ex-military. I put my trust in the person who's going to tell the truth and look out for the best interest of everybody. I don't think Trump looked out for the best interest of everybody. He looked out for himself. He's a businessman, not a politician. So he never should have been in that seat because he treated the world like it was a business.
By the way, does Ivan live in DuPage?
No.
Remember the old show? There was an Ivan in DuPage who would call in.
Hey, Dennis, man, what's up, dude?
I loved Ivan, man.
Right?
He was great.
Yeah, he'd be like on his back porch. You can hear birds chirping in the background. Oh, man, what's up, Ben?
Yeah. He roll with the reefer jokes. Hey, get that joke? Get that pun? Roll with the reefer jokes.
Oh my goodness!
When you started, I was watching. Like, where's he? But you said Army vet. I think Ivan, our old friend Ivan, was a Marine vet.
Yes, yes, he was. He was a Marine vet. All right, on to the next voter quote. We got a voter quote here from Bernadine. Bernadine is a retired Metropolitan Water Reclamation District worker who lives in South Shore. She said after casting her ballot that she'd hoped election mania would come to an end. What's on my mind? Well, this is the voter quote, by the way. Voter quote. What's on my mind? That this election will finally be over, and I won't have to see any more of these stupid commercials.
Well, Bernadine, I got bad news for you. Well, I think the commercials will end, so that's good news for you. But I got a feeling, to quote the Beatles, that this election will not be over tonight. There will be the counting of the ballots. There will be the squabbles over the counting of the ballots. There'll be lawsuits over the counting of the ballots. There'll be claims and counterclaims and accusations one way or the other going on for a long time. Unless there's a tremendous landslide, and the only person I see winning in a landslide is Biden. So unless there's a tremendous Biden landslide, and this thing is so obviously over tonight, this baby's going on for a while. And I know who was picking a land. Oh, our good friend Monroe Anderson has been saying it's going to be predicting a landslide for a while. But I got a feeling, Bernadine, by the way, one of my favorite songs. Oh, no, it's Bernadette, sorry. I started singing. I was like,
give it a little remix. Just turn it into Bernadine.
Bernadine!
There we go. All right, cool. That's an easy fix.
I would a shout out to Susan Klonsky, who was our guest this weekend. We talked about 1968, one of the funniest aspects. There's that scene in the Chicago 7 movie where the receptionist at the Chicago 7 defense office is called Bernadine, like Bernadine Dorn. And Susan Klonsky, very funny, goes, "No way Bernadine Gordon's answering phones." Great part of that. interview.
And Bernadine says she's sick of these commercials. No offense to our new reoccurring character who may not be on the program after tomorrow, Phyllis, but I agree with Bernadine.
Springfield politicians, they promise they won't tax retirement income if their constitutional amendment passes.
By the way, Dee, I don't know if you saw this news. I think it was one of the guys. I think Sneed had it. Sneed had this breaking story.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Phyllis and Ice Cube are going to do a duet together. Chances are, and Phyllis will come in. Ice Cube, because I've always wanted to do like a Johnny Mathis ballad. So they're cutting it together, and there's a talk of a tour. A tour.
Damn you, Sneed! You always get the scoops.
I know. Phyllis is like, I'm feeling my inner Ice Cube. And I think Jay-Z is thinking of cutting an album with Phyllis too. No, Jay-Z is for Biden, isn't he? So forget the Jay-Z joke.
Phyllis.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on here. We got one more voter quote. All right, this was at 1:29 p.m. Ernest, 51 years old. He walked into Edward Duke Ellington Elementary School on 243 North Parkside with criminal justice reform on his mind. Here's the voter quote. Quote, I'm an African...
I'm sorry. That was funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
You're interrupting Ernest here. All right. Ernest said, quote, I'm an African-American man who lives in an African-American community, and every single day I see family and friends who have been wronged by the justice system. Hinton, who lives in Austin, said he thinks only one candidate can bring true criminal justice change. Ernest says, quote, voter quote, I voted for Donald J. Trump. His platform, his voting record, the fact that he acknowledged the capital of Israel is Jerusalem, and his stance on life. All of those things together with that I think he will do for the African-American community is the reason why I voted for him.
All right. There you go. And I think Ernest is his name?
Ernest.
Yeah, he'll be part of that Ice Cube Phyllis song, too. He's going to get a little chorus thing. It's going to be like a remix of We Are the World. And Ernest will be one of the guys in the back. We are the world. Come on, Phyllis. We are the people. That Phyllis will sing solo.
Yeah, why don't you go report that, Sneed?
Yeah, Sneed, you didn't know. Ice Cube, Phyllis, and Ernest doing a song together. Okay. They got it all worked out. I wonder if Ernest voted for Pat O'Brien. Did it say?
Wait, let me look. No, it does not say.
Yeah, did Ernest vote for the fair tax? Huh?
Wait, let me look. MAGA. No, nothing.
Maybe he just said, some people just I'm voting for the president and that's it. And then I'm just dropping out. I don't know if Ernest is one of those. But yeah, Ernest will be there. Ernest, Phyllis, Ice Cube. 50 Cent was going to be there, D, but then he said, nah, forget it. I'm not doing it.
Now he's voting Biden now, right?
Why do I think he's not voting at all? But whatever. Yeah, his old girlfriend Chelsea Handler said that okay, let's be clear. 50 Cent made it clear that the reason he was going to vote for Donald Trump is because he liked the tax break that Donnie gave him, and he thought that Joe Biden would raise his taxes. So clearly, 50 Cent lived in Illinois, he'd be against the fair tax. Right? Because he just wants Dennis's rates to remain the same as his rates, even though he makes a lot more money than Dennis or me. But then Chelsea Handler, his old girlfriend, called him out on it, went on Jimmy Kimmel's show and said, I'll pay your tax bill. Oh, you cheapskate. And so 50 said, I'm not for Trump. I'm for Biden. But I don't know. Do you think he voted?
$10 says he still voted Trump.
Yeah, if he voted at all.
Yeah.
So, but she embarrassed him because she made him look cheap. I'll pay your tax bill. Okay. So anyway, he's not on the, I read that in Sneak. He's not a part of the group. It's just Ernest, Ice Cube, Phyllis, and I think Kenny G will be playing saxophone.
Oh, my. Wow, what a collabo this is.
Kenneth Griffin, though, he'll be playing air sax.
Yeah. In an effort to not sound cheap, 50 Cent is changing his name to $1.50.
Oh. Denny will be at Zany's next week.
He went up a whole $1, guys. All right, that's our show, everybody. Make sure to join us tonight. We're going to be on this live stream, all right? So just find it. We'll probably get up at about 7:55. I'll play a little Michael Girardi like we always do, and Maya's going to be joining us. It's a First Tuesday in Ben Joravsky show special covering the election night here. We'll probably end at about 11. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. We hope you all will join us. Weigh in on the live stream chat. Let us know your thoughts. And, hey, if you want to help out and give us some results as well, we'll take them, all right? We'll take them.
We're not above that. Trust me when I tell you, we are not above that. Our crack crew of vote watchers consists of me and Dennis. And I'm still not quite sure how that whole internet thing works. Dennis, one more time, how do you do an app?
So wait, it's www.
Dot? Like the World Wrestling Federation? Wait, I'm all mixed up.
Actually, before we go, Doogie just reminded me he did leave us some voicemails. We're going to play Doogie's voicemails real quick here. Okay. Doogie weighed in. Let's see here. This is yesterday at 4:45. Doogie left us some voicemails. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do the same. 708-658-4788. The number again, 708-658-4788. Leave us a voicemail. Here's Doogie. Maybe. Oh, boy, this happens quite a bit. All right, let me switch the settings here on my phone. Doogie, you're great, man. We always appreciate you calling us. And everybody, it's like Doogie. Oh, and Michael Girardi left us a voicemail, too. We'll play that tomorrow. Okay. But Doogie, it seems like he wants us to play this. So, all right, sorry about that. Got my phone set up now. Boy, this life in the pandemic, it's something else. Here we go. Yeah. Damn you, Doogie! Come on, where is it here? Oh, goodness gracious. Maybe we'll play it tonight during our broadcast because this isn't working here. All right, technical difficulties on the Ben Joravsky show. We will be editing that one out.
That'll be gone in the podcast. Live stream listeners, see what you hear? See this content? The podcast people won't hear this. They won't hear this at all. Anyway, all right, that's our show today. I want to thank Maya. She did a great job. She'll be back tonight at 8 o'clock. And, of course, I want to thank the man, the myth, the legend, the pride of joy of Alton, Illinois. Without him, the show would be possible.
Sorry, Doogie.
As Ernest, Maya, Ice Cube, and Philly will tell you, back home in Alton, they call him Dr. D. Give yourself a raise, take it out of petty cash. See you later tonight, everybody.
Face coverage. Face coverage.
It's been a long time since I've shaved with a normal razor.
Face coverage. Face coverage.
Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody else. Fox puts him on more than anybody else.
Face coverage. Face coverage.